I'm like, I'll get in the middle and be double stuff, so I might include that. I hope so. I like that sort of that. I like it rough. There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You are doing the Lord's work. Never change. Thank you. Great river. Very lucky. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we got a double board bomb pot with the worst dealer in the history of the game. Just want to make sure I pick that up when I listen to it later.
I hope you tip her really good.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give her some tips. I got some tips for her. Deal better.
We're dealt Ace Jack 5-3 with 3 spades to our ace on the small blind in this double board bomb pot. The flops fall Ace 4-4 Rainbow and Queen Jack 9 with all spades. We flop the nut flush on the bottom board, provided no one has a straight flush. However, since we're first to act against the field, we decide to check and let someone else take the betting lead. Unfortunately, we don't listen to the old adage, bet your own hand, and it winds up getting checked around. The turns fall the 5 of diamonds and the Queen of hearts, and now we bet out the pot of 120, and I'm not a big fan of this. We should have bet our hand on the flop. Now that the board is paired, we're leading out into the field when we could be dead on both boards. Fortunately, only the big blind calls 120, so hopefully we're getting at least half. The rivers fall the 9 of diamonds and the 8 of spades, and we check it down, we reveal our hand, and he winds up mucking, so it looks like we're going to scoop this whole thing.
Holy shit. Did you just deal me a winning hand? A scoop? You dealt me a scoop?
I dealt you a pooper scoop.
Wait, am I supposed to like tip you now?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. This hurts my soul. This hurts me so much. I would have rather get scooped so I didn't have to tip you.
We're on the button holding Ace King Queen 8 with 3 spades to our ace. Under the gun raises to 15, middle position calls, we call, the small blind and big blind call, and we go 5 ways to a flop of Queen Queen 7 Rainbow. When it checks to us, we flop 3 queens with the top kicker. We bet $50 and only the original raiser under the gun calls. We go heads up to a turn, which comes the 4 of diamonds. He checks and we check behind. The river is an offsuit 9, and now he leads 150 into us. We don't like it, but we make the call, and he shows us Ace 7, 7-4, having flopped the bottom full house that we were unable to outdraw. The $10 straddle is on, middle position calls 10. We call on the cutoff holding King Queen, Queen 6, suited in clubs to our king. The cutoff calls, the button and big blind call, and now the straddle raises it to 40. Middle position calls, we come along, as do the button and big blind, and we wind up going 5 ways to a flop, which comes King, Queen, 8, Rainbow. When it checks to us, we block top set, and we have middle set, plus backdoor clubs. However, there are a ton of turn cards that will put potential straights out there, so the time for us to bet is now, and we lead for the full pot of 210. Fortunately, they all wind up folding, and we just show them the King, Queen for top 2 pair.
What'd you say about me? Sucker what?
Suckadilla! Thank you. Thank you.
The $10 straddle is on. We're under the gun +1 holding Ace 7-5 suited in spades to our ace. We call, middle position calls, the hijack calls, and now the cutoff makes it 65. The straddle cold calls, and we spring the trap, potting it to 285. Middle position and the hijack fold. The cutoff thinks for a bit and shoves for 330 total. We make the call and agree to run 2 full boards. The first flop looks good, falling 10-3, 2-7-2, until we see our opponent has pocket kings, and his side cards are 3 deuce. Of course, why not? Well, he's won that one. Let's see that second board, and it comes out Ace King 3-7-8. So fortunately, we win the second board. Looking at the equities when the money went in pre-flop, we were an overwhelming 3-1 favorite, having 75% equity. But unfortunately, we don't make any profit, and we have to chop it up.
Set of aces and trip deuces.
He's got a full house on the other board. He's got deuces full of 3s. Yep. All right, chop it up. I thought the deuces pairing on the river were good for me.
Yeah, I saw the same. Come on the team.
Nice hand.
There's a few limpers, and we come along on the button holding Ace King 7-7 suited in spades to our ace. We go 4 ways to a flop of Jack 10-7 Rainbow. When it checks to us, we're confident we aren't up against the nut straight, as someone would have bet it rather than let us outdraw them on the turn. Still, there are a bunch of turn cards that will weaken our hand, so we bet the full pot of $25. We get one caller. The turn is the 2 of hearts. He checks, and I don't like my play here as I check it back. My opponent is most likely trying to outdraw my current hand, so I shouldn't be giving him a free card. I suppose my check may make it look like I was just taking a stab from the button after everyone checked the flop, and it may get me paid on the river, but I still think my hand is too vulnerable to bad river cards, and I should just be betting this turn for value and protection. Anyway, we go to the river, which is the beautiful case 7. He checks to us, and now we come out firing the full pot. It's going to look bluffy because we bet the flop, we check the turn when the board texture didn't change, and now we're making a bet that doesn't look like it can be called on a board pairing river. Unfortunately, he lays it down, and we win a small one. We're dealt ace-ace, ace-3, suited in diamonds under the gun. Having trips in your hand is usually an automatic fold in PLO. However, these aren't your average trips. We have the nut diamond draw plus blockers to the nut flushes of 2 other suits. Given our tight image, we can run a bluff should a flush of one of these suits come out, so we bring in for $5. The hijack raises to 15. The button, small blind, and big blind all call. We could re-raise here, but our hand is hampered by the trips, so we just call as well. We go 5 ways to a flop of 10-7-4, all hearts. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Because we have the ace of hearts and a tight image, we can rep this board and get a lot of respect from our opponents. We bet the full pot of 75, they all lay it down, and we just show them the ace of hearts. So we had played PLO earlier in the day. The game was so-so, and we decided to hop into a $125 freeze-out, no-limit hold'em tournament that was running. We didn't manage to vlog it, but down to the final 2 tables, we had an above-average stack, and we wound up calling a short stack shove when we had ace-jack, only to run into his pocket tens, which held, and unfortunately, we didn't recover after that. There were 86 entrants, the top 9 were getting paid, and unfortunately, we busted in 14th, just 5 spots shy of the final table and money. Not ready to go home yet, we hop back into the mean streets of PLO.
What up, fool?
We're dealt king 9, 7-6, suited in diamonds to our king from the big blind in a double board bomb pot. The flops come down 9-5-3, all diamonds, and queen 10-2 with 2 hearts. We flop the second nut flush and then a gut shot straight draw to the second nuts on the bottom board, with essentially only a one-way hand that may not even be good, since someone could have the ace-high flush, we check. It winds up checked all the way around, which is good news. If the ace-high flush was out there, we would have heard it. So we feel confident we've got the best hand on the top board. The turns come the jack of spades and the 8 of clubs, and now a player in the small blind makes a super weak $20 bet. We aren't having it, and we announce pot, making it $165.
Are you famous?
No. Not yet. We'll get there.
I'm gonna be famous.
Okay. For what?
With that intro.
Oh, with that? Yeah, for sure. They'll be asking to see you again.
Where's that crazy guy?
Our opponent in the blinds just calls. The rivers come the 2 of clubs and the jack of diamonds. When they check, we have the second nuts on both boards, and we bet the pot of 435 going for max value, but they wind up laying it down.
I was scooping. The straight to the king and the king eye flush.
He won his first hand.
I want my first hand. Hey, you know, I remembered I left the stove on at home, guys. I gotta go. I forgot I have a surgery to do in the morning. I'll see you all later. Thank you very much.
We're in the big blind holding jack 9, 8-7 suited in clubs to our jack. It's folded to the button who raises to 20. The small blind and I both defend.
He can't beat both of us, man. Let's get him. Punish him, dealer.
Get it.
Get him.
Make it happen. Ow! Yes, look at that.
The flop comes down 10-7-4 with 2 diamonds. We flopped a nice wrap straight draw. If we can hit a 6, 8, 9, or jack, we'll make our straight. However, there's also a diamond flush draw to be concerned about, so we can't get too crazy out of position. We check it over to the raiser, who checks it back, and the turn comes the beautiful 8 of hearts. Now we have the stone cold nutter butters. But there are 2 flush draws we don't have. The small blind leads super weak again for 20 into us, and once again, we ain't having it, announcing pot to 120. Now the button goes into the tank, and he winds up cold calling. The small blind thinks better of it and folds, and the river comes down the queen of clubs. We still have the nuts, but check, hoping to induce the button into making a play at us, He doesn't fall for it, checking behind and announcing 2 pair, which is no good against our nuts.
You're gonna love my nuts.
Quarter one in hand. There he is. What's your name for the vlog? Ali. All right. What's up, Ali?
Famous.
I might make that my intro. We don't know.
Yeah.
All right. We're doing a $15 bomb pot. We are under the gun, and we would like to scoop like last time.
Boo.
What? I'm getting booed on my vlog. I can edit that out. That's good content. Me being booed is good content. I might keep it.
I'm gonna make you famous.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
The flops come out Jack 10-3 all diamonds and 7-6-5 with 2 spades. We have an open-ended straight draw on a board where a diamond flush is already possible, and then the idiot end of the straight on the bottom board. We check and it's checked around. The turns come the Queen of Hearts and the 3 of Spades. We check again. The button now shoves all in, and our new buddy Ali gets his stack in.
I don't know who to root for. I like you both.
All in.
All right, we got an all-in moment. The ESPN all-in moment. These 2 gentlemen are all in. Gonna be heads up.
Do you have a flip?
Action is complete.
Their fate about to be sealed. Bump,
Alright, 3 queens with a queen high flush. 8-9 for a straight, no good. Straight on the top is good. Alright, chop it up. Take your money back.
Well, that's no fun. Nobody likes a chop, man. That's not good content for the vlog. There's got to be blood in the water, man. There's got to be pain. There's got to be trauma.
Sounds like
A chop is no good.
We're in early position holding ace-ace, 6-2, suited in clubs to our ace. Under the gun raises to 15. We pot to 50 trying to isolate, which works as he's the only caller with only a few hundred behind. The flop comes down King Jack 8 with 2 diamonds. It's not a great flop for our hand, but when our opponent checks, he has such a small stack size left, we take the aggressive route, betting the full pot of 105, and he just makes the call. The turn is the 3 of Spades, and now he shoves for his last 105, and we call and agree to run it twice. The rivers come the 8 of Clubs and the 7 of Diamonds, and he turns over Queen 9, 8-7 double suited in diamonds and hearts, making 3 8s on the top board and a flush on the second board to scoop us. Looking at the equities, we're a relative coin flip pre-flop with about 53% equity in our favor. On the flop, he took a commanding lead of 69%. The turn brought us both back into coin flip territory, although he still had 55% equity. Unfortunately, we can't collect our cut this time of the equity, and we wind up doubling him up.
7, I got aces. Oh.
3 8s and diamond flush.
Oh, he's got, hold on a second, let me.
105.
Sucker dealer!
We're playing a $15 double board bomb pot from middle position holding ace-7, 4-3, suited in diamonds to our ace. The flops come out Jack 5-3 rainbow and 8-5-2 with 2 diamonds. When it checks to us, we flop the nut flush draw, plus we have straight potential on both boards. However, none of our straight draws give us the nuts. We have 3 diamonds in our hand, there's another diamond we need already out on the first flop, so we check to control the size of the pot. The cutoff bet's 50, the button calls 50, the big blind calls 50, under the gun and under the gun plus 1 call 50, and we call 50 as well. We're going 6 ways to a turn, which comes the 9 of hearts and the 6 of diamonds. When it checks to us, we've managed to hit our gin card on the bottom board, making the nut flush. We bet 150, hoping to keep weaker flushes in, or people drawing on the top board so we can make some bigger money on the river. The cutoff, under the gun, and under the gun plus 1 all call.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the button.
Oh, yeah.
Under the gun calls 150, and on the gun plus 1 calls 150. Jesus.
Skip it. Skip it.
Hold'em players, man, they're animals. Filthy animals.
Skip it.
We go 4 ways to the river, which comes the King of Spades and the 7 of Diamonds. When it checks to us, we go for max pressure, betting the full pot of $1,035. Yes, someone could have a straight flush on the board we have the ace-high flush on, but if they do, they're just going to get my money. The top board, we only have bottom pair, but if we can push out players who might have 2 pair on that board because they fear the Queen 10 straight came in, we might have a shot to scoop the whole pot if we get called by a weaker flush on the bottom. A short stack shoves all in for around 100, and he's the only caller. He shows down Jack 10 7-4 double suited in hearts and clubs. So he was calling with his bad straight on the board I had the flush on, and inadvertently winds up winning the top board with one pair of jacks.
Oh, man.
You pulled 3 pairs?
No, here,
10 of hearts.
Here I won. Jack of clubs.
You know you got diamonds.
4 hearts.
Straight shot.
Here I had nut draw.
Hey,
With 2
get that.
pair.
I had 2 pair on
You
top.
got a call. Can't fold.
Like he's raising.
Well, you got $40.
He had nothing to lose.
You got nothing. You got $40.
Thank you so much.
You got a call, you're gonna get half the pot.
Appreciate
You
you.
know, with him, you chop him for sure. You got the nut diamonds, real quick. 2 pairs, 3 pairs.
On both sides.
Yeah, you only got diamonds. You check flop, diamond got 30 pots, you got nut diamonds. If you got anything on this side, you got a call.
Because there is a straight flush.
Yeah. Listen.
So after an extremely long day of playing PLO cash, then bubbling the tournament, then playing more PLO cash, we head out to the parking lot where we see this.
Look at this fucking retard parked right on top of me.
So fortunately, we managed to win almost $700 on that session. It would have been really painful to take a loss that session and then come outside to find my car completely blocked the fuck in by an idiot who doesn't know how to park. So I have to then climb through my passenger fucking side to get into the driver's seat. So luckily, we booked a win, so it was a little bit less painful, but learn how to fucking park, asshole. Anyway, I just got back from almost a week down at Rounders in San Antonio. They were having a $1 million guaranteed $1,400 buy-in no limit hold'em tournament. I wish I could tell you I was the one at the final table winning $200,000, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. I actually did something I normally don't do in tournaments, which is bust early. The blinds were 2-4 with a $200 big blind ante. That is correct. They were doing a small blind for the big blind ante, I guess. So a little bit different, but gives you some deeper stacks, deeper play. And we started with 50,000 in chips, so we're at 2-4, still really early, just a few levels in. And I had 50 something thousand, let's say. So anyway, guy on my right had been limping a ton for the early levels, and I had raised him a few times, including out of the small blind after he limped the button, and he folded, and I had actually had hands, but it had happened a few times. So we're at the 2-4 level, he's in the cutoff, and he raises to 1,000, which he hadn't been raising. So I'm on the button, I look down at pocket nines, and my thought process in that spot is, well, he hasn't been raising. So best case scenario, I'm up against, overcards where I'm coin flipping. Worst case, he has a big pair and, I'm completely dominated. So I didn't really feel like I could raise in that spot. So I just called the big blind calls as well. We go 3 ways to a flop and it comes 2-3-4 rainbow. Now she checks and he bets about half pot, let's say 1,700-ish. I have the overpair to the board. I have position. So I just make the call. She gets out of the way. We're heads up going to a turn. And I'm sitting there and I'm going 9, 9, 9 in my head, and fucking 9 of clubs right on the turn. Now there's 2 clubs out there now. And he continues the aggression. He bets 3,800. And so at this point, I'm excited. I'm like, all right, he's got an overpair. And I pop him to 11,000. And then he pops me back up to like 23,800. And we only started with 50,000. Now he's got me covered. And, I felt like, okay, this guy's overplaying an overpair. He's got aces, kings, whatever. And he thinks he's good. So I rip it in. He snap calls. And I've told this story to a few people. I ran the hand history through a few people at Rounders. And, everyone was like, oh, he had ace 5 or something. And I didn't even think of that at the time. But no, he did not have ace 5. He had 5-6. He had 5 fucking 6. And so he flopped the fucking nuts. And I did not pair the river. And that was my tournament. And I didn't choose to buy it. I felt like the universe was telling me, just stay in your lane, stick to cash games. You're not going to win a big score in these fucking tournaments. Don't waste your time. So anyway, luckily they had a bunch of Big O games. They don't get a lot of pot limit Omaha straight high only. So Big O is, for those who are unfamiliar, is 5-card Omaha with a high-low variant. So there can be a high and a low that splits the pot. In addition, they also do double board bomb pots every dealer change, which can get pretty wild. And those are $10 double board bomb pots. But they would usually have, a good 2 or 3 tables running at the same time and wait lists and stuff. So the games were good. Fortunately, the cash games were good to me, and I was able to recoup the tournament loss. So we started off a little bit rough and, ended up good. And I didn't vlog the tournament, but I did vlog the cash games, so that will be coming up in a future episode. So I want to give shout outs to some really cool people that I met while I was down there. We've got Bet on Drew, we've got Ashley Sleeth, Jesse Sylvia, Nikki Limo, and my poker man crush, Ryan DePaulo. No homo. Maybe a little. They were really super cool. It was great to meet all of you. You guys were really welcoming. You made me feel comfortable and appreciated. And it was cool to hang out with you guys and to play poker with some of you guys. We did a round of each with myself and Nikki and Ashley and Jesse, and they hadn't really played PLO before, so they were kind of dipping their toes into my game, and I gave up some edge in the hold'em side, but that was cool to do that, and it was great meeting you all, and I hope we'll see each other again at another event. Also, I'll leave links to their channels down below. And I also want to give a shout outs to a couple of guys. Chad, their technical IT guy down at Rounders, really cool dude. It was great meeting you. And Ethan, who was doing some commentary in the booth as well. Equally cool to meet you as well. So hopefully I will be swinging down sometime early next year to maybe be on a stream and get to see you guys again. All right, with all that said, we are at the end of another episode. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Please leave any comments or questions you have down below. And for those who are celebrating it, have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you in the next one.
After watching a video like this, sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I'll leave a comment, and sometimes I'll subscribe. Sometimes I'll even do all 3.